activism is totally integral to this movement. I mean, environmentalism has become mainstream in the last 10 years, largely because of activists like you. And so, we've seen the success of movements like, or the large cultural impact of movements like Occupy Wall Street. And that's what I think is exciting, is that now people are starting to make the connections between, Occupy Wall Street and the 99% and melting glaciers. And I think when we start to make those kinds of connections is when change is actually possible. So I'm very excited about this new brand of activism. Policy is essential. I mean, we've got to have some regulation. We saw what happens when you deregulate the banking system. We've seen what kind of disaster happens when you don't do that. We've seen an era in the US where our rivers were on fire, and that gave us some of the legislation that we have today. So we know that policy and regulation is essential in making sure that we have clean water and clean air and food that's suitable for our children. That's indisputable, so very important. That being said, the reason that there hasn't been a coal plant that's been able to open in the United States in the last year is not because of regulation. It's because people say, under no circumstances will you open this coal plant in my community. And so that's they work together, because it's the people who get the regulations passed. And when the regulations aren't strong enough, like I think our clean drinking water, which should be far more strict than it actually is in the amount of chemicals that it regulates, it's the people who need to create that groundswell and say, no, this is not acceptable. And so I feel like both of those things work together to sort of create change.